The Buffalo Soldiers. A new army. Black soldiers have a long history in the United States. During the Civil War, 1861 to 1865, for long instance, more than 170,000 black soldiers fought for the North to the end slavery in the North. In the South, after the Civil War ended in 1865, the U.S. Army formed the first peacetime regiment to be known as the Buffalo Soldiers. Former soldiers, former slaves, and other black men joined. The Army presented them with new opportunities. As former farmer Charles Crick said, I got tired of looking bulls in the face from sunset to sunset. Field workers stand in a Florida cotton field in 1879. Hard labor was the only work available to many black people after the Civil War, often the same work they'd done as slaves. Although the Civil War ended slavery in the United States, black people still faced discrimination. It was hard for them to find work. When they did, they were often paid less than white workers or weren't paid at all. Black people often weren't allowed to live in the same place as the white people. It was also hard for black people to gain an education. In 1866, the army paid black soldiers the same as white soldiers, $30 per month. $13 per month. Black soldiers needed to write messages and understand order and maps. Those who couldn't were taught to read and write. The army provided them with food, clothes, shelter, work, and the chance for adventure. Most of these men were being sent to western frontier, the Great Plains, deserts, and mountains west of Mississippi. The original Buffalo Soldiers. Two of the black units formed in 1866 were the 9th and 10th Cavalry Regiments. Many historians consider the 10th to be the original Buffalo Soldiers. Like the other black regiments, the 10th Cavalry faced many challenges. Many white soldiers and officers didn't think black soldiers should serve in the army. They gave the black soldiers old or lame horses as well as poor or damaged supplies. The food that black soldiers received was never as good as the food for white soldiers. If a white soldier stole from or hurt a black soldier, the white soldier often went free. Black officers weren't allowed to lead, and white officers often didn't want to lead black regiments. Colonel Benjamin Garrison was a rare exception. He led the 10th Cavalry for 22 years from 1856 to 1888. Worldwide. Infantries are made up of soldiers who fight on foot. In fact, in the past, cavalries were made up of soldiers who rode horses. Today, cavalries are made up of soldiers in vehicles. Despite such treatment, the 10th Cavalry and the other regiments of black soldiers continued to perform their duties. The regiments were often praised for their work and conduct. Black soldiers were also much less likely to quit. Outwards, the West was a wild place during the late 180s. 1800s. More settlers were moving into the area. Outlaws often stole cattle and horses. They also robbed banks as well as stagecoaches, which provide important supplies and mail to the settlers. Meanwhile, the growing United States pushed the Native Americans off the land they had lived on thousands of years. The U.S. government funded different Indian tribes to make deals. The government ordered them to poor land on reservation but promised them food and other supplies. The government did not keep its promise. The broken deals angered Native Americans. Some tribes began attacking soldiers and settlers, taking back land and supplies. Regiments of black soldiers were ordered to protect shelters, towns, and supplies from outlaws and Native Americans. Yet, because of their skin color, the black soldiers were not often welcomed in towns. Between 1866 and 1875, the 10th Cavalry was stationed in different places around Kansas and Indian Territory, now Oklahoma. It was during this time that they earned the name Buffalo Soldiers. The name came from Native Americans. Some say Comanches gave the 10th the name, while others say it was the Cheyennes. One story is that the name came from the black soldiers' hair being similar to the dark, woolly hair between a buffalo's horn. Other stories say that the name from the black soldiers' strength in battle, which was like a trapped buffalo. Wherever the name came from, all the regiments of black soldiers soon adopted it. The 9th and 10th Cavalry's combat. In 1875, the 10th Cavalry was sent to Texas. There it joined the 9th Cavalry. At that time, the government was trying to force the Apache tribes to move on to reservation in Arizona. The Apaches knew the government would not keep its promise. Also, they didn't want to live on poor land far from their home. Some Apaches fought back. The 9th and 10th Cavalry were ordered to stop Apache attacks. The 10th Cavalry remained in the southwest for years, trying to bring the Apaches under control. By contrast, the 9th Cavalry was sent to the north to Indian Territory. There they fought outlaws and settlers who were trying to take land and set aside for Native Americans. For more than 20 years, the 9th and 10th reserved on the frontier from Texas to Montana. The Buffalo Soldiers earned 14 medals of honor between 1870 and 1890. The Medal of Honor is the highest award as a U.S. soldier can earn. Later service. In 1898, the Buffalo Soldiers fought in the Spanish-American War. They took part in many battles and earned 5 medals of honor. Even so, some leaders in U.S. Army still thought black soldiers were unable to perform as well as white soldiers. Buffalo soldiers on backs. In the 1890s, the army wanted to see if backs could replace horses since backs were cheaper and easier to care for. The Buffalo soldiers rode 1,900 miles from Fort Missoula, Montana to St. Louis, Missouri. The roads were bad. They crossed the Rockies River and shifting sandhills, and still averaged 50 miles a day. Before long, though, bikes were replaced with motorcycles. Between 1899 and 1904, the Buffalo Soldiers worked as park rangers in several California national parks. They built roads and trails, fought forest fires, and stopped people from hunting animals and stealing timber. During World War I and II, new black regiments formed. They were still called the Buffalo Soldiers and were still led by white officers. They were kept separate from white soldiers until the Korean War, when they were mixed in with other units. The Buffalo Soldiers legacy. History remembers the Buffalo Soldiers as tough men who took on tough jobs. Although they were often treated poorly and often faced discrimination, they fought to prove they were good at their jobs. Their bravery and